Hi, welcome to News 6. This week's News 6 is being presented by the 6th graders of Mrs. Vaughn's 6th class at Burr Road Elementary School in Wauseon, Ohio. Some people have interesting hobbies, but Mr. Jerry Baldwin is a little different. Here to tell us more is Steve Hartman.
Thanks, Marcia. Mr. Baldwin competes in truck pulling competitions, which is like tractor pulling, only souped-up trucks are used to move the weighted sleds. Kathy Morgan talked to him in his garage as he prepared his trucks for an upcoming event.
What is truck pulling, Mr. Baldwin?
Well, truck pulling is like tractor pulling, if you're familiar with that at all. It's done on a 300-foot track. It's usually made of clay soil, and it's used as a weight exchanger, and of course the farthest one that goes down the track, why, they're the winner.
Could you tell us something about that truck?
Well, the truck is a 1960. Originally the vehicle came from Kansas. We've changed the rear ends and everything. The motor is the 497 Chevy. Uses a turbo 400 transmission, Rockwell rear ends basically. Of course, it's as much stock as what we've been able to keep the thing. We kind of like to keep our trucks' original appearance. Some of them cut them up and they don't look as good as they could, but this truck probably has less rust on it than most of them, say 78 or 79 from our area, because they don't use salt in Kansas at all. We also have another truck almost identical to this, and we kind of get split up at times. One runs one class and one runs another, but we try normally to run the two together when we can.
How many meets do you go each year?
Somewhere possibly, I'd guess around 30 to maybe 35. We just was down to Mobile, Alabama 2 weeks ago. Of course, the temperature was a little different there than it is here. And we've been to Pontiac, Michigan at the Dome up there. We've been to the State Fair at Columbus, the State Fair at Indianapolis.
What's that patch on your jacket?
Well, last year in 1981, we ran the Ohio State point circuit in the state, and we won the #1 position with it. This is a presentation jacket that I received from the state.
Our next story was written by Connie Grieser about her grandmother, Mrs. Lavina Hartshorn. News 6 went to Grieser's Airport, a small landing strip east of Wauseon, and visited Mrs. Hartshorn. Here with the story is Tony Lighthill.
Thanks, Marcia. We found Mrs. Hartshorn to be a very interesting lady with many honors to her credit. She soloed in 1955 and thinks she may have been the first woman pilot in the area. She was the second woman in the United States to get an inspector authorization license, and the third to be licensed as an aircraft and power plane mechanic. Now she maintains the airport and inspects and restores planes. She showed us the 1946 Aeronautica Champion that she and her husband are currently restoring. They purchased the plane and completely tore it apart until only the frame of tubing remained. They have replaced all of the wooden bulkheads and streamers and will cover the plane with a fabric called circonite. When the plane is finished and painted, it will look like this one that the Hartshorns have already restored. Mrs. Hartshorn is looking forward to spring, when the sod-covered runway will be clear and the Champion will be ready to fly.
Thanks, Tony. How many times has someone told you to stop clowning around? Becky Martinez has a story about someone who really clowns around.
Thanks, Marcia. For some people, being a clown is really serious business. There are even some schools where people can learn to be clowns. In Wauseon, there are clown classes that are attended by ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages. Chris Meeker talked to Lemonade the clown.
Lemonade, how did you get started being a clown? I took a clown class offered by the Fulton County Extension Office, and it lasted for about 2 months. And it was taught by Evergreen and Kate I Skate, and there were about 30 people in our class.
How long have you been a clown?
I will be a year old in May.
How long does it take you to put on your face?
It takes me about an hour to put on my face, and first I have to put on the white grease paint, and then I have to pat that all down with baby powder, and then I add my colors. First I take and erase where the white is, where I want my mouth or my eyebrows. Then I add the colors, and then I powder it back down again. Then I finally add my nose and eyelashes. And then it takes about 15 minutes to get all my makeup off. It takes 15 minutes then to get dressed.
Will you do a skit for us?
Sure.
Thanks, Lemonade. This is Chris Meeker for News 6.
Wauseon is the home of two unique vehicles, one from the past and one that may represent the future. Here with our final story is Terry Walfogel.
Thanks, Marcia. Our journey into the past took us to the Wauseon Volunteer Fire Department, where we saw a truck that was built in Columbus and first used in 1916. The truck is a pumper that used a chemical flow system to spray the water from the tank. Hard rubber spoked wheels are driven by a chain like a bicycle. The pumper last fought in a fire in 1942. It was restored 3 years ago and is now driven in parades and at firemen's conventions all over the state. The future of motor vehicles may be electric cars. News 6 went to the home of Mrs. Lehman, who owns a commuter car. The car is powered by 8 6-volt batteries that are recharged by plugging the car into an adapter. The car is licensed for road travel and can go 40 miles per hour with a range of 40 miles. The car's body is made of rust-proof plastic, so the car is very light. Mrs. Lehman told us that the car costs about 2 cents per mile to operate. She drives it around town, and when she doesn't go too far, she could probably just use a long extension cord. Not really, but the silent car gets a lot of stares, and Mrs. Lehman always has to answer a lot of questions, like she did for us.
Thanks, Terry. That's all for this week. Be sure to watch next week when News 6 will be presented by the 6th graders from Conneaut School in Bowling Green, Ohio.